You probably know this feeling all too well. A desk piled high with things for later, a phone that is constantly lighting up, and a long to-do list running through your mind. We open our eyes in the morning and are immediately swept into a hurried current of emails, appointments, and messages. In the midst of all that seemingly familiar noise, I want to ask you a question. Are we truly living, or are we merely existing by reacting? I am not here to judge, but simply to sit down beside you like an old friend and talk about a different path, a gentler and slower one. The Japanese call it minimalism, not the art of discarding, but the art of keeping what truly nourishes the soul. It is when we invite tranquility back into our lives by reorganizing our space, our time, and even the expectations we hold within our hearts. When you quiet some of the noise from the outside, you begin to hear the voice within more clearly. If you are feeling exhausted by carrying the weight of too much information, too many plans, and too many responsibilities, please consider this a quiet moment created just for you. Together, we will walk through some very ordinary actions. Clearing a small corner to let your mind breathe, turning repetitive tasks into gentle rituals, and learning to live in harmony with the changes of nature. There is no magic formula. Only small steps, gentle enough for you to begin today. And if you are ready to try a way of life that is less scattered, more focused, and warmer, then in the moments to come, we will open the Japanese minimalism box together. We will discover 7 small secrets that can change the way we feel and live in each moment, in a way that is quiet yet incredibly enduring. Tip 1. Ma, when space speaks. Picture a familiar morning. The shrill sound of your alarm clock mixes with a barrage of notifications. Your meetings stacked back to back like relentless waves. You sit in front of the screen, the cursor blinks impatiently, and the rhythm of your own breath grows shallow. It is in that very moment that the philosophy of Ma gently touches you on the shoulder. A small opening, a sliver of light between 2 beats of life, a place where you can pause in order to move forward more intentionally. In Japanese aesthetics, Ma is not absence, but the presence of potential. Space clarifies form, silence accentuates sound, and a slower pace deepens meaning. You can feel Ma in the rests of a jazz composition. It is that very pause that allows the next note to resonate more deeply. It is present on the no theater stage, where an actor's moment of stillness is filled with tension and anticipation. In the art of ikebana flower arrangement, the branches never crowd the vase. It is the empty space that allows their curves to speak. Or in a Zen garden, where pebbles and stones are arranged sparsely to give the mind a path to walk. The architect Tadao Ando invited light into his Church of the Light through a decisive cut in the concrete, a profound lesson that it was the nothingness that gave structure to the something. Restraint does not make beauty disappear. On the contrary, it brings depth and resonance. Try bringing Ma into your day. It can be as simple as taking 1 deep breath after sending an email, instead of rushing immediately to the next task. It is ending a meeting 5 minutes early, not to squeeze in something else, but to give your mind a gentle transition. Dedicate an empty corner on your desk, like a small stage for a single object you cherish. In the digital world, create a screen-free sanctuary like your bedroom, where phones are not allowed to enter, so that sleep can become a ritual. Even in conversation, accept the seconds of silence, because they show that you are truly present. Psychologically, Ma functions like a pause button, helping your nervous system release the tension from constant stimulation. When your space and time are less crowded, a state of calm has a chance to return. You will be surprised to find an idea suddenly spark in 10 seconds of quiet, something an entire hour of screen scrolling could not deliver. Ma does not demand that you abandon the world, but only invites you to let go at the right moment. When space is respected, your joy also changes. It is no longer a fleeting euphoria, but a warm feeling that weaves itself into every small action. And then you realize you are not cutting back on life, but simply returning it to its natural rhythm, a rhythm that always has space for you. Tip 2. Danshari, learning to say enough to excess. Perhaps you have stood silently before your closet, looking at items you cannot remember the last time you touched. Those shirts bought for a just-in-case day, those gifts kept out of guilt. They lie there like heavy whispers, pulling you back to the past. Danshari enters like a straightforward friend who says, "You do not owe these things anything. You only owe yourself honesty." This method is a 3-step process. Dan, refusing to bring more unnecessary things into your life. Sha, discarding the excess you already have, and Ri, detaching yourself from the obsession with material possessions. It reminds us that the real waste is not in discarding an item, but in allowing it to occupy our living space uselessly. Unlike KonMari, which asks about sparking joy, Danshari poses a more practical question. Does this item still align with the person I am right now? The function of an object becomes a clear mirror, reflecting whether it is supporting you or getting in your way. The process begins quietly at the threshold of your home. You learn to refuse flyers, bargain items, or free gifts you do not actually need. Then, you clean out small areas one by one, separating what you use from what is no longer suitable. With keepsakes, touch them with gratitude, perhaps take a photo or write a small note, and then let them go. The emotion is liberated instead of being locked away inside an object. The spirit of Danshari gradually spreads from your home into your digital space and even your relationships. You delete applications that no longer serve you, cleaning out your inbox so that it no longer growls at you each morning. You also learn to decline reluctant appointments or conversations that drain your energy, not with judgment, but by respecting your own boundaries. The profound effect of Danshari is not just in the boxes of clutter that you remove. When your living space becomes clear, your mind also becomes less entangled. Energy no longer leaks into trivial questions like, what should I wear today? Or where did I put that thing? You will find you have more time, not empty time, but time to be truly present. Danshari does not turn you into an ascetic. It simply removes the excess so that life can run more smoothly. Your room will be brighter, but more importantly, your mind will become brighter and clearer too. And in that state, enough is no longer a number, but a feeling of peace. The ability to take a full deep breath without bumping into any sharp corners on the inside. Tip 3. Shibumi, the beauty of unspoken elegance. On a gentle afternoon, you place a simple, unadorned ceramic cup on the table. Its surface is slightly coarse, rustic, making no effort to impress. And for that very reason, it becomes special. This is how Shibumi makes its presence known, quietly and naturally. It is like the subtle astringency of a persimmon that is not yet fully ripe. At first, it might not seem appealing, but if you savor it slowly enough, a sweet aftertaste lingers that only the patient can perceive. True beauty is not found in a brilliant surface, but in the quiet fragrance that emanates from restraint. If Ma is empty space and Danshari is the act of letting go, then Shibumi is the very quality of what is kept. Less but refined, simple yet profound, humble yet complete. In daily life, it might be a coat with clean seams and no logo, a kitchen with just a few durable tools in their proper place, or a workspace where everything serves the purpose of focus. When your surroundings grow quiet, your mind also becomes less noisy. You use fewer words to say what you mean, and you need less fanfare to express what you believe. Shibumi is not about austerity, but about an intimacy with simple things. When choosing an object, the question is not, does this impress anyone? But rather, can this journey with me through the years in peace? Its elegance lies in how the materials, proportions, and lines are calibrated just enough to be of service, before quietly receding into the background. The psychological effect is clear. The eyes are allowed to rest, the brain ceases its constant comparisons, and the desire for more slowly transforms into the joy of, this is enough. You can practice Shibumi through small rituals. Cook a simple dinner with 3 fresh ingredients instead of a complex recipe. Curate your wardrobe into a few favorite uniforms to eliminate deliberation in the morning. Keep only the smoothest pen and a notebook with paper you love on your desk. In conversation, allow silence to be a part of the content. Shibumi does not flatten your personality. On the contrary, it gives it a quiet background from which its true voice can emerge more clearly. The quiet depth of Shibumi is like oxygen for the inner self. When you spend less energy decorating the outer world, you have more energy to cultivate your inner world. People often think simplicity is boring, but Shibumi proves the opposite. Simplicity is the ripeness of refinement. And once you have tasted it, you will find yourself saying less but meaning more, having fewer possessions but feeling more complete, and performing less while being more fully present. Like a room that needs no decoration, only the afternoon light, providing just enough for the heart to find a place of refuge. Tip 4. Decluttering your digital space, rediscovering a quiet mind. Perhaps you have sat in a room that is already tidy, yet your mind is still cluttered with a ceaseless scroll of words, messages, emails, and red notifications flashing like scraps of paper caught in the wind. Today's clutter is not just on our desks, it hides on our screens, in our mindless scrolling. To tidy this space, we can use the same timeless principles. Danshari to let go, Ma to create space, and the spirit of Zen to return to the present moment. Imagine that every time you touch your phone, you are opening a drawer in your mind. So, when was the last time you organized that drawer? This question is not meant to judge, but to invite a dialogue. You can metaphorically pick up each application and ask yourself, is this uplifting my life, or is it just pulling me down endless corridors? Some of our online connections, if you look closely, are like an expired gift. We keep them out of obligation, not affection. Every time you dare to delete an unused app or leave a group that no longer fits, you are not just cleaning your device, you are expanding Ma, that invisible, quiet space, to let your brain breathe. That spirit reminds us of the value of real-life moments where our eyes meet instead of glazing over a screen. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by dozens of open browser tabs, you understand why digital overload exhausts the mind. The brain is like a kitchen. It needs a clear countertop to cook up good ideas. When that surface is covered in icons and alerts, your mental meals can easily become chaotic. Sharpness does not come from adding more, but from taking away, lessening the noise so that your important thoughts can take shape. Begin with a small ritual. Put your phone down and look at your home screen, keeping only what is truly essential for your day. Maps, phone, camera, notes. For everything else, thank them and then let them go. Group your applications into a few clear folders like Work, Connect, and Learn. Next, restore the quiet by turning off unnecessary notifications. The Do Not Disturb mode will become like a closing shoji paper door. Light can still pass through, but the noise must remain outside. The next step is to create screen-free hours, an intentional period of Ma, such as after 9 o'clock at night or for the first 30 minutes of your morning. You will be surprised to find your sleep is deeper, conversations at the dinner table are more meaningful, and the half-read book on your nightstand suddenly becomes more compelling. Your inbox also deserves a deep clean. Unsubscribe from newsletters you no longer read and organize emails into neat folders. Because digital clutter returns so easily, make a weekly appointment with yourself for a digital tidying session. Do not try to change everything overnight. Progress here requires Zen-like patience, one step at a time. As you slowly move through each digital window, you will feel your mental space expand. One less icon, one more breath, one less notification, one more look at the world around you. Behind the screen, a simpler, more profound life is quietly waiting. Tip 5. Making a ritual of simplicity. There are mornings that are in no way special, yet they hold the power to save an entire day. You touch your hands to a warm cup, listen to the steam gently breathe, and your mind suddenly grows quiet, as if someone has just closed a door. The Japanese call this bringing ritual into everyday life. Not to make things complicated, but to place the heart back in its proper position within each small action. From the tea ceremony, where the 4 qualities of harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility can be found in a single bowl of tea, to the spirit of Kaizen, continuous improvement, like a drop of water wearing away a stone, it all points in one direction, to slow down, do less, and do it with intention. When the world outside urges you to be faster and have more, ritual softly says, just be here. This is enough. You can begin in the kitchen. When washing a dish, do not just rush to get it done. Feel the running water on your hands as a measure of the present moment. Touch the surface of the ceramic as if you are touching the day that has just passed. When housework is done with both body and mind, it becomes a discreet flow of meditation. You are not trying to meditate, you are simply being present, and a sense of peace will arrive as gently as the afternoon light falls across the floor. Then come the clothes. When you fold a shirt, gently smooth it out as if you are calming a story. Each fold is a silent word of thanks. Thank you for keeping me warm, for coming with me through busy days. The tidiness here is not for show. It is an act of respect for the person you will be tomorrow. The act of returning each item to its proper place is a way of creating Ma, empty space, so your eyes have a place to rest and your mind has room to breathe. create a morning ritual for yourself to recalibrate your heart's rhythm. Prepare a cup of tea or coffee as if you are getting ready for a meeting with the most important person, which is you. Get the water, wait for it to boil, pour it slowly, and observe the steam as it rises and vanishes, like a reminder of impermanence. Sit down and drink, with no phone and no distractions. In each sip of that tea, you can find all four qualities: harmony with yourself, respect for the moment, purity in the sensation, and tranquility in the midst of the noise. The important thing is to let the ritual support you, not imprison you. If a morning is too busy, simplify it. Just drink a glass of warm water and take 5 deep breaths. Kaizen reminds us that eliminating waste also includes letting go of overwhelming expectations. Each day, choose just one single moment to perform as if it were the first time. Washing your hands, boiling water, or opening a window. When you repeat this long enough, you will see that these tiny rituals are the delicate thread that helps you find your way back. The way you keep your heart from being swept away by the waves of life. Tip 6. Ikigai. Rediscovering your reason to wake up each morning. In the midst of endless to-do lists, there is a small question that is always there. What truly makes me want to begin a new day? Ikigai, your reason for being, does not demand that you become great. It invites you to return to joys that are just the right fit, tending to a row of plants, brewing a delicious cup of tea, or sending a warm greeting. The Japanese minimalist lifestyle does not stop at getting rid of things. It clears the space for what is most worth living for. When the noise from borrowed desires quiets down, you will realize that happiness often resides in the most humble of things. Ikigai is not a slogan. It is the heartbeat of daily life. Some find it in the meticulousness of a craft. Others find it in listening to and supporting the people around them. When you place your whole heart into ordinary tasks, a current of enoughness will begin to rise. Time seems to stretch and contract according to your presence, and you suddenly understand that living slowly does not mean being sluggish, but rather living with precision. To listen for your own Ikigai, try a small ritual. Each morning, write down 3 things that make today worthwhile. It could be as simple as the sunlight on your windowsill, a phone call to a loved one, or a page in a book that is waiting for you. Place your hand on your chest and feel what makes your heart gently flutter. That is your clue. When you feel lost, reread those 3 things like a small map. The road may not get any shorter, but you will feel less adrift. A minimalist lifestyle helps you clear the path for Ikigai by pruning away empty commitments. When you dare to say no to an invitation that no longer feels right, you are saying yes to a peaceful afternoon. When you leave a project that is no longer meaningful, you are opening the door for a new skill that makes your eyes light up. In that space, less becomes the path to a more meaningful more presence, more connection, and more meaningful contribution. Ikigai grows in very small steps, in the true spirit of Kaizen. Today you might spend 10 minutes on something you love. Tomorrow, it might be 12. You do not need to change everything at once, only to prioritize a non-negotiable block of time for what truly matters, like an appointment for which you are always on time. Gradually, you will find you need fewer and fewer loud rewards from the outside world to feel complete. When you find your Ikigai, you will also recognize the connection between yourself and your community. Your joy is not separate from the world, it radiates outward in the way you cook a delicious meal for someone else, or share a skill you have learned. Your day might still be busy, but your internal axis has become stable. You know what your North Star is, and what is just a passing call. And in that clarity, every small decision, what to eat, whom to meet, what to do, becomes a stitch, slowly sewing the fabric of a life that is well-fitting, warm, and durable. Tip 7. Wabi-Sabi. Learning to live in rhythm with nature. One afternoon, a gentle wind blows, a leaf breaks from its branch and falls, so slowly. It is a whispered reminder. Everything is always changing, without ever asking for permission. Wabi-Sabi gives a name to this kind of beauty. The beauty of incompleteness, of the traces worn by the years, of ceaseless transformation. When we live minimally in the Japanese spirit, we are not seeking a perfect room, but a way of living that knows how to accept and to cherish. From there, the rhythm of nature, blooming then fading, waxing then waning, begins to guide us toward a peace that needs no performance. Nature never rushes to hide its scars. A tree trunk is covered in moss, a river stone is etched with the lines of flowing water. It can be the same in our homes. When a ceramic cup is chipped, we can learn the spirit of kintsugi, using lacquer and gold to mend the break. The crack is not concealed, it becomes a proud part of the object's history. Placing that cup on the table, we can hear its story, and strangely, its story is also our own. All the times we have been chipped, all the times we have mended ourselves, each time with a little more appreciation. To live with Wabi-Sabi is to accept that beauty always carries the breath of impermanence. A flower is beautiful because it will fade. Our hair is beautiful because it will change with the years. When we let go of the need to control everything, life teaches us tenderness through its very own marks. At your meals, try using a ceramic bowl that is uneven in shape, a pair of chopsticks that has grown old. That imperfection forces us to slow down, to be more mindful, and it reminds us that nothing needs to be perfect to be precious. You can turn the act of sweeping leaves in the yard into a ritual. Each sweep of the broom is a breath. Each clean patch of ground is a space of Ma opening up for the mind to rest. When it rains, try listening to the sound of the rainfall like an old piece of music, letting it pull you out of your hurried cycles. At work, Wabi-Sabi reminds us that mistakes are not the enemy. They are opportunities to refine things, just a little better each day. We stop demanding flawlessness from ourselves and from others, and because of that, a thick layer of stress is lifted away. Let your home breathe like a garden. Open the windows to let the sun visit. Place a dry branch on a shelf, and leave a stretch of wall empty for your eyes to rest upon. Do not rush to replace your furniture when it gets old. Instead, try listening to the stories its age is telling. A scratched tabletop holds the memory of meals shared. A wobbly chair is a witness to how many times we have stood up and sat down. When we learn to listen, objects become friends. And when we have friends, we need fewer things. Finally, living in rhythm with nature does not mean you have to leave the city for the forest. It is about letting the forest have a place in your heart. A small potted plant is enough to teach you about the seasons. A corner of a balcony is enough to be your own private sky. We slow our pace. We look more closely. We breathe more deeply. And in every imperfect detail of life, we meet a less critical version of ourselves. Someone who knows how to smile at the cracks, and who understands that happiness is sometimes as simple as agreeing with the rhythm of life itself. Perhaps we do not need very much for life to feel complete. Just a room quiet enough to hear the sound of our own breathing, a tidy desk to set our thoughts down upon, and a moment of honesty with our heart, as if we have just closed a noisy door in order to open our own private sky. The path ahead is not about winning any kind of race, but about returning to our own true rhythm. Slow yet deep, less yet enough, gentle yet clear. We can begin with the smallest of things, wiping the dust from them with our own presence. When we are no longer pulled away by trivial calls for our attention, we will hear more clearly the sound of water flowing within our soul, a sound that has long been muffled by the words must, should, and need. If you would like to try one small change tonight, just let your hands lead the way. Warm them on a cup and simply breathe. Turn off a few unnecessary notifications, or call a loved one. These simple movements, when repeated long enough, will weave themselves into a new fabric for your life, one where every day has room for focus, for gentleness, and for joys that are just the right fit. And if you feel that this journey has touched something in your heart, a gentle tap to share might be a way for that peace to spread just a little further. The next time you return, this chair will still be here. We will sit together again and learn how to live more slowly, more deeply, and more happily. The night will slowly settle, the lights will dim, and in that quiet space, perhaps you will hear your heart whisper something very soft. Everything is already whole and beautiful in its own way, just for today.